for a sweet, reach for a cigarette, avoid the calories. And that was the medical knowledge
right.
at that time. And so I don't think it's a good idea for the government because they're always behind the curve. And a lot of times the information that they're presenting, for example, I'll give you, and this is covered in the upcoming book, this whole story that we have about that we have to reduce our sodium intake, our salt intake.
Right.
There is not one clinical study that demonstrably shows that reducing the dietary salt that you take in during the day has any effect on reducing cardiovascular outcomes.
Wow.
It doesn't, period. End of story. In fact, there was a group that's called the Cochrane reports that look at all the studies that have been done, and they reached the conclusion that after 125 studies and 13 epidemiologic studies, the relationship just doesn't seem to exist. So, yet the government, because of the politics of things, and here we're getting to answer your question, why doesn't the government step in? When you have people who have made their careers on things, when you have money invested, when you have a whole, agriculture used to be about feeding us. Now it's agribusiness about making money. And so when you have money, you have careers, you have politics and power involved, it's up to us little people like me. I don't work for any company, but to try to get the word out there, people like you will help us educate, and then people can make decisions. And when people make decisions, they make decisions with their dollar based on what they're going to buy. That's how we affect the change.
I remember when I was going to school, elementary school, you had every day you had a period on health. On what foods to eat, what not to eat, how to get proper exercise, the importance of sleep, mental health, physical health. It was all part of the structure of the academic world way back when. But now, I talk to my grandchildren, and they look at me as if I've got three heads when I say, well, what are you learning in school about health? What do you mean? And then if you go to a store near a school and watch what these kids are eating at lunch, they go in and they grab a big bag of chips with a big bottle of Diet Pop. Like, come on.
Yeah, and it goes back again, sort of to, the agribusiness and economics. Unfortunately, that bag of chips is, 69 U.S. cents.
Yeah.
The organic apple is $1.25, and the garbage, because it is garbage, is cheaper. So unfortunately, that's one hook that they get into folks. The second is that this stuff is laced with combinations of sugar, salt, and fat. And although our civilization has evolved dramatically over the last couple hundred years, you know what? Physiologically, biologically, we're about the same we were when we were really hairy wandering around the plains of Africa. And physiologically, we're weak. We're built to seek out sugar, salt, and fat. So we get hooked into that McDonald's burger, that you get through the drive-thru.
Yeah.
Why? Because there's sugar in the bun.
And it tastes so damn good.
It hooks you in, and it becomes, I think people, and one of the things I talk about in the first book is the difference between taste and addiction. And it hooks you, for example, if you take, they did a study on a tribe, I believe it was out of New Guinea. These people hardly consume any exogenous sodium. They don't salt their food.
Right.
And when they taste a chip, they don't like it. It's too salty. But if you have them eat it over a period of a week or two, they start to crave it.
Wow.
And then they want it. And then it tastes delicious.
Yeah, I know a lot about craves because I went on the Atkins diet. And I'm telling you, I lost the weight, but boy, did I crave those carbs. I would dream of platefuls of spaghetti, for goodness sake.
And I think the proper approach, again, to reach back to our original diet, it's all about, balance. Nature puts things out there for us in balance. And we can have carbohydrates in balance. But what we want to avoid is really refined, processed, adulterated carbohydrates, like the bag of chips we were talking about.
Yeah, Mother Nature gave us a perfect world. And I don't understand why people haven't figured it out yet that we are, like you said, basically in a binary, 0 and 1s, and that there is a balance. And we should follow that balance and get back to it. But is it too late for us, Doctor, to get back to our roots so that we can actually start living a better and healthy life?
I don't think so. I've been working on this program for years now, and I can tell you, I wish somebody else had written this book, and I wish I'd been smart enough to buy it and read it when I was in my 20s, because I'd be much better off than I am now. But having said that, I could tell you I feel better. I'm in better shape now than I was when I was in my 20s and 30s, simply because of the foods that I eat. I exercised all my life, being involved in martial arts and things.
Right.
But the differences in the foods, I feel better. I'm in better shape. It's amazing. So anybody at any time can start to walk down that path. And what we have to realize is, for all of us, our days are numbered.
We're here for a good time, not for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, and we want to enjoy the time that we do have, with health and wellness, and it can be done.
So, how would you suggest to people, or how do you suggest to people who have the smarts enough to buy your book, to go to your lectures, to listen to you, to learn from you? How do they start turning their lives around? Because it's not an easy road.
It's not, but it's fun. And one thing I can guarantee, it's absolutely delicious. And, for example, I worked with, because this all kind of came about years ago, because as a chef, as a food person, I love to eat. I love to eat good food. Yeah. And we have to understand that. You talked about the Atkins diet.
Yes.
As soon as I deprive you of something, you want it. We have to understand we don't eat simply for nutrition. It's not, 500,000 years ago, and we just got to get some berries and some roots. For tens of thousands of years, food has been a human experience. We share it with each other. We break bread. Even the phrase of that, connotates the emotional, social, etc. input that it has with us. So understanding that we want to approach it that, hey, we can enjoy food and we can make delicious meals. And what is very important, which gets back to the sort of the labeling, is that we look at the quality of the ingredients we start with. So, often people say, well, when they come in and being a cardiologist, they say, well, hey, doc, I want to let you know I'm not eating red meat.
Well, all right, doc.
And I say,
go on, sir. We've got about 20 seconds left. So finish your thought.
Okay. Well, yeah, we could pick this up on the other side of the break, because folks will want to stay tuned and hear what I think about eating red meat.
I'd love to listen to this one. I think I'm going to go out there and eat a cow. I'm not sure about this anymore. Exonation. Dr. Michael S. Fenster is my guest. www.whatscookingwithdoc.com. We'll be back on the other side of this news break. Don't go away. Are you considering calling a psychic to read your situation? Then consider David Champion, a psychic medium for more than 20 years with thousands of readings under his belt. David Champion will make you feel comfortable. He has proven to be honest and accurate. He's a straight shooter. There's no guesswork. What he sees is what you get. While he is a medium, most of the calls focus on relationships, not only love, but work, school, neighbors, and more. Need help with finding a job and preparing for the interview? Are you dealing with people who are obstacles in your path? For more information, go to davidchampion.com, $1.50 per minute paid by credit card with a minimum of 30 minutes. For your reading with David Champion, call 1-877-702-8598. That's 1-877-702-8598. Now you can dial in to listen to the X Zone Radio Show from anywhere in the world with Rob McConnell 24/7, 365 by dialing 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080. If you have a mobile phone or landline, the X Zone Radio Show with Rob McConnell is now at your beck and call at 213-401-0080. That's 213-401-0080, 24/7, 365.
Hi, this is Elizabeth Joyce with the X-Zone. This week, beginning March 31st through April 6th, we have eclipses, retrogrades, and the Grand Cross energy. That comes on April 28th, which is going to bring activity and attention to your relationships. On the 29th, the solar eclipse in Taurus will bring a focus on your finances. Your patience will be tested throughout the month because 3 planets are retrograde. Your mind will be on several different issues this month as Mercury zips through Pisces, Aries, and finally Taurus. When Mars is in partnership-oriented Libra, you can expect activity in that area of your life. Be sensitive to the needs of people around you. Aim for harmony and equality in all of your alliances, whether they are emotional or professional. There are 2 very strong, challenging aspects in April, on the 20th and the 21st. Actually, this energy will affect you the entire month, beginning today. For many, they bring stress, nervousness, a crisis, suffering, a dilemma, or other problems. Be sure to stay alert. Avoid all high-crime neighborhoods and people who have been abusive to you in the past. Since the Grand Cross triggers, the water signs expect lots of April showers.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And for more information on Elizabeth Joyce, visit her website at www.new-visions.com. And Elizabeth's Skype address is elizabeth.joyce. My name's Rob McConnell. This is the X-Zone, and you're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network around the world from our broadcast center in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. My guest this hour, X-Zone Nation, is Dr. Michael Fenster. He's the author of Eating Well, Living Better. His website is www.what's Cooking with Doc, and the entire title, I just read the short version, is Eating Well, Living Better, the Grassroots Gourmet Guide to Good Health and Great Food. All right, Doc, let's hear the nitty-gritty on red meat.
So we're going to give the audience a little we're going to give them a little red meat here.
Okay, I love it.
As a cardiologist, so many of my patients come in and they're beaming, they're proud. Mm-hmm. They come in and they say, "Hey, Doc, I want to let you know, I just go down and I get a chicken sandwich. Yeah. I gave up. I don't eat any red meat. And I look at them and I say, well, man, you're really missing out on some great food.
Oh yeah, I love it.
This goes back to again what we were talking about with an overemphasis on simply looking at fat content and calories, et cetera, and saying, well, this industrially processed chicken breast, that I'm getting at the drive-thru, but it's a chicken breast.
Yep.
It's got less calories and it's got less fat, so it's got to be better than red meat. And what it really comes down to is, well, it depends on what kind of meat we're talking about, the quality of the red meat. Now, if we get one of those grass-fed, pasture-raised, fillets, I will take that 100 out of 100 times over an industrially processed chicken breast.
Oh, hallelujah.
And the reason is that, the grass-fed beef has a different combination of fats, different level of fats than one might find in a processed, for example, burger. And it all comes down really to the processing. And we talked about Rob, why isn't this message getting out? And I'm going to give you a great example. There was a conference here in the U.S. not long ago, last month actually, and one of the experts got up to talk to all the rest of us cardiologists. Now, at the end of it, we found out that this guy is a paid consultant for the Pritikin Foundation, but he gets up and he talks about a study that was done in Europe that looked at over almost 500,000 people. And he says, well, they found this association if you eat about 5.5 ounces of red meat with increased mortality, and it's much more pronounced if you eat processed meat, and, there's definitely association, between that. And he kind of glossed over that, and really you walked away from what he said thinking, well, if I eat red meat, I increase my risk of dying. But that's not what the study said. The study actually found that, yes, technically, when they looked at it, there was a slight association in the raw data between very high meat